What is going on, everyone? How's everyone doing? The chaos that's taking place around the country is simply getting out of control now. We are watching as memorials are being vandalized now by savages. And I've called these people savages time and time again. And I've been called out for speaking to the fact that I shouldn't be calling these people savages, and that's not terms you should be using. And rather than focus on the fact that these people are tearing down statues of abolitionists, they are defacing and vandalizing statues of George Washington and Ben Franklin. Rather than focus on those things, people are more concerned about the fact that I dare to touch on the fact that it is savage behavior. It is absolute savagery to sit there and deface and vandalize a memorial to 9/11. You go back to 9/11. I live in New Jersey, so this was in my backyard. You go back to 9/11, and we watched as these heroic first responders, police officers, and firefighters rushed into these towers, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing if they were going to make it out alive. And people lauded what they did. They praised them. They were heroes. Those people that did those things and made those sacrifices were heroes. And you fast forward about 20 years, and now people are defacing and vandalizing memorials to the people that made the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11 to try and save their fellow man. So you have New York Assemblymen blasting depraved vandalism of 9/11 FDNY Memorial, and there's no justification. There's absolutely no justification for this whatsoever. The depraved individuals, they don't know. They obviously don't know who did this. They literally cut down, vandalized a 9/11 memorial, and went ahead and cut down the flagpole. It says here, and when we went this week after the news broke that it had been desecrated, it was really just devastating to see that somebody could be that depraved to go in and destroy and deface a memorial to the Washingtonville Five brave men, FDNY members, who sacrificed their lives fighting terror on our own soil. They fought terror on our own soil. They rushed into these towers. And the fact that we're sitting here now watching as people are condemning police. How many police officers died on 9/11? How many died? And now we're sitting here saying that the police officers need to be defunded? That's what this is coming to? It's time people wake up and realize what is really going on in this country right now. It says here that the memorial features a semicircle of granite monuments honoring 5 members of the New York City Fire Department, firefighters Mark Whitford, Bobby Hamilton, Jerry Nevins, Battalion Chief Dennis Devlin, and Lieutenant Glenn Perry. According to the Times Herald record, the damage was discovered early Wednesday morning. The police are now conducting a full investigation into the vandalism. A $3,000 reward is being offered for the information about the incident and the suspects. And this proves the fact that they started tearing down monuments in this country because they said it was offensive because there was Civil War generals and whatnot that needed to come down because it portrayed, history. It portrayed a portion of our history that wasn't. It was a negative portion of our history, if you want to say. And I could understand that, if you don't want to have monuments of generals that were fighting on the side of slavery, sure, you could take them down, but you take them down in a sensible manner. You take them down in a way that is voted upon, and if the people decide they should be taken down, they're taken down civilly, and they could be placed in a museum or in storage. That would be civil compromise to taking care of this statue issue. But that's not what the left wants. They want civil unrest. They want discord. They want people to see them tearing down our history. That is what they want to see. And people are not willing to stand up for this anymore. We need to stand up for our history. We need to stand up for the fact that this 9/11 memorial was defaced. They've gone far beyond just going after Civil War generals now. They're going after memorials dedicated to the people that perished on 9/11. Honestly, when you think about it, a lot of the kids that are doing this nonsense, some of them weren't even alive when 9/11 occurred, and a lot of them were probably real little when 9/11 occurred, so they don't remember. They don't remember what it was like to live on that day, to see those towers get hit by planes and fall, to see what went on. Living in New Jersey, we didn't know what was going to happen on that day. I was in high school at the time, and we're sitting there not knowing. Some people had family members. My wife's parents both worked in New York City, and she didn't know how they were going to get home that night. And now we see people that are literally defacing these monuments, and it is sickening and disgusting, and it is savagery, and it needs to stop. And people need to be willing to call this out. And it doesn't matter what other people say. People might say, oh, you're racist, or you're this, or you're that, or whatever other bullshit they're going to come up with because you call out the savages that did this to this 9/11 memorial. Well, you know what? They are savages, and what they did was savagery. And that's the bottom line. So anyway, moving on. We have the latest in the boycott saga, where we're now. I'm not a fan of boycotts. I'm not a fan of boycotts at all. And it's kind of ironic in a way that the left is calling for a boycott to Goya Foods, given the fact that Goya Foods is largely a Hispanic culture type of food, a type of like adobo, different seasonings and whatnot that you want to put on your food. It's usually geared more towards Hispanic culture. So boycotting Goya Foods would almost seem sort of racist, if you want to say, because it's almost like saying if you were going to boycott Popeye's chicken. If we said we were going to boycott Popeye's chicken, oh my gosh, can you imagine? People would be talking about, oh my gosh, you're racist because you're going to boycott Popeye's chicken. But you can boycott Goya Foods simply because the CEO of Goya Foods decided that he was going to support our president. And this is how deranged the left is. You know, yes, boycotts don't work. I don't support boycotts. I support the free market and the free economy. But I just think it's hilarious now that the left has gone so far off the deep end that they're literally willing to boycott the CEO of a company that makes food that is largely as popular in the Hispanic community. So it says here that Trump tweets his support for Goya Foods amid the boycott. President Trump came to Goya Foods' support as activists call for a boycott against the company after its CEO commended the president. Trump tweeted, "I love Goya Foods," a day after CEO Robert Unanue appeared at the White House and heaped praise on the president. "We're all truly blessed to have a leader like Trump who is a builder," Unanue remarked during his speech in the Rose Garden. The comment sparked an avalanche of criticism against Unanue and Goya Foods from activists and politicians who expressed disappointment over his praise to the president. So the left has become so deranged that they can't even, a CEO cannot support our president. You know, the economy's better under the president, jobs are coming back, and most CEOs should be supporting our president right now, given the fact that the economy is coming back. And, you know, the economy was booming before COVID. It took a nosedive, and it's coming back almost just as faster than it did when Trump got into office, when he got it going in the first place. So Goya Foods has been a staple of so many Latino households for generations, tweeted Julian Castro, the Obama-era housing secretary and former Democratic presidential contender. Quote, now their CEO, Bob Unanue, is praising a president who villainizes and maliciously attacks Latinos for political gain. Americans should think twice before buying their products. When did President Trump villainize and maliciously attack Latinos for political gain? He hasn't attacked Latinos for political gain. They're probably referring to the fact that he talks about closing the border. That's not an attack on Latinos. That's an attack on people of any background, any race, any person trying to enter the country illegally. That's what that's an attack on. It's not an attack on Latinos. But this is the game that the left likes to play. They like to twist things and always make it out to be about race, and that's their game. That's what they do right now. That's what they're doing in everything that's going on right now in this country. And it says, "Oh, look, it's the sound of me Googling how to make your own adobo," said Representative AOC. I mean, even giving her the time of day is ridiculous, because she hasn't done a damn thing since she's been in Congress. She tried to stick her name on that Green New Deal bill, which was a total joke and was laughed out of Congress. She's done nothing, and she literally almost lost her seat. They almost gerrymandered her seat out of existence in New York City. And the only reason she got in to begin with was because of the low voter turnout. So it's just completely asinine that this boycott is even taking place. And again, boycotts don't work. It's just another ploy by the left. It's going to blow over, like most of the things that they do end up like happens to most of the things that they do. The whole Black Lives Matter thing is going to blow over. This boycott is going to blow over, and they're going to be on to the next thing. You know, they literally go from, topic to topic in a matter of days, and this will be forgotten about in just a few days. So it's just something to talk about, because they just can't help themselves in the fact that anyone that supports the president, they want to chastise. So anyway, what else do we have here? Let's see. Let's get the next. And then you have the communist mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. And this guy is the biggest hypocrite you've ever seen in your entire life. They just said now in New York City that they're going to ban large gatherings. They're not going to have Fashion Week in New York City in the fall. They're not going to have the San Gennaro Festival. They're not going to have the West Indian Day Parade. They're going to get rid of all those large gatherings, but it's okay to protest. So this guy is the fact that the people in New York City actually voted this person as the mayor is just mind-boggling to begin with. But and again, they talk about what's going on in the city with the shootings going up and defund the police and all those things. People in New York City are getting what they voted for. You guys are getting what you voted for. So don't come complaining when the police aren't going to respond to certain calls. They're going to be a little more apprehensive to get involved in different situations. This is what you guys want. So it says Wolf Blitzer didn't even flinch at the double standard. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio said on Thursday that he's banning all large public gatherings to stop the spread of coronavirus, except for Black Lives Matter protests. De Blasio made the curious comments while appearing on CNN with Wolf Blitzer on Thursday. And it is mind-boggling that this is taking place, and the hypocrisy that's going on. We're told that we can't even go into in New Jersey and New York. They still won't let people into restaurants for indoor dining. because they're concerned about social distancing and whatever other cause celebre, whatever narratives they're trying to push at the current time. So we can't go inside and grab a burger, but you can go outside, right outside, and gather with 10,000 people in the middle of Fifth Ave in Manhattan, and that's no big deal. And that's why part of the reason that people think this COVID thing is nonsense at this point, and it's just becoming a political agenda, is because of the hypocrisy. There's no consistency into how they're approaching anything that they're doing when it comes to COVID. So here is the interaction between Blitzer and de Blasio.
Big outdoor concerts, and it means things like parades. Things that here in the city can mean not just thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. It's just not time for that now.
What about protests? If people want to march down Fifth Avenue, are they going to be allowed to do so?
Look, Wolf, this is always an area of real sensitivity. If you're just talking about health, we would always say, hey, folks, stay home if you can. But we understand at this moment in history, people are talking about the need for historic changes. I mean, today in New York City, recognizing the power and the meaning of the message Black Lives Matter, which we did in front of Trump Tower today, this is a historic moment of change. We have to respect that, but also say to...
Just the fact that they put Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower when he's not even there. He's in He's obviously at the White House in D.C. right now, and he moved his residence to Mar-a-Lago in Florida. So this is... They're just so... It's hysterical because they're so obsessed with trying to do stuff to piss off the president. Meanwhile, I guarantee you Trump is sitting down at the White House in D.C. right now laughing at this buffoon, this clown, Bill de Blasio, who in a city where shootings are going through the roof, crime is going through the roof, he's more concerned about painting a mural of Black Lives Matter on Fifth Ave in front of Trump Tower.
The people, the kinds of gatherings we're used to, the parades, the fairs, we just can't have that while we're focusing on health right now.
What about the U.S. Open? I'm curious. I love going to the U.S. Open. I love tennis.
So that's just a little of the insanity that's taking place. And it's liberalism is rooted in hypocrisy. And this is a prime example of that. And we're seeing that take place now throughout the country. And, they claim to be standing for civil rights while tearing down statues of abolitionists. And now you have Black Lives Matter protesters being allowed to protest, but we can't eat at restaurants. So the hypocrisy, it's everything that the liberals do and the Democrats do today is rooted in hypocrisy. This is just the New York Post talking about the nonsense going on with Bill de Blasio. Again, talking about the fact that they're able to have he bans large-scale events, but you can protest. And finally, we have the mural that was painted, the Black Lives Matter mural that was painted in, is it California? Yes, California. They did another Black Lives Matter mural, which, they're cropping up all over the country. We can't have a thin blue line painted down the center of a street outside of a, borough hall or a city hall or police precinct, but we can paint Black Lives Matter in huge letters across any street in the country, which is, hypocritical in and of itself. So these two brave individuals decided to take it upon themselves to go ahead and paint over this Black Lives Matter mural. And why is it okay for statues to be torn down, Ben Franklin, George Washington, to be defaced? Why is that okay, but we can't go ahead and decide to paint over a Black Lives Matter mural? That would seem rather consistent and give, if it's okay to deface statues, why can't we deface Black Lives Matter murals? That would be a logical conclusion to what is going on in the country today. So it says police are searching for an unidentified white man and white... Whoa. They're unidentified white man and white woman. What if the police referred to criminals as unidentified black man or an unidentified black woman. That would be racist, but it's okay to refer to these two individuals as unidentified white individuals. And again, it's just everything is hypocritical with the left. Everything is hypocrisy. Not long after California community completed a Black Lives Matter mural on Saturday, a white man and a white woman arrived to paint over it, police said. So, of course, they have to talk about how they're wearing patriotic shirts, and one guy had a Trump shirt on, and it says, "We're sick of the narrative. That's what's wrong." The man said in the video, the narrative of police brutality, the narrative of oppression, the narrative of racism, it's a lie. And then, let's see, residents from Martinez got a permit from the city to paint Black Lives Matter on July 4th on the street. It appeared that the couple... Whoops, sorry guys. It appeared that the couple came to the mural with cans of paint and roller with the specific purpose of vandalizing over the mural. So they're pissed off about vandalizing this mural, but they're not pissed off about tearing down statues and vandalizing, historical figures in our parks around the country. That's okay, but we can't paint over a Black Lives Matter mural. As the video goes on, the woman off camera is heard referring to the white woman with the paint roller as Becky, and the white man as Terry. Becky and Karen have become have come to symbolize a certain type of white woman, as has the name Chad for men. So it's the Karen thing. That's another thing that should be considered racist. We're going to attribute a stereotypical Karen name to white women. How is that not considered racist, given the context of what we're living, given what we're living in today? How is that not considered racist? It's okay to do that, to stereotype white women as Karens? The altercation goes on for about 5 minutes, with several bystanders interjecting and asking why this is happening. Let's see. The community spent a considerable amount of time putting the mural together. How much time was spent on these statues that they're tearing down? How much money was spent on these statues that are being torn down around the country? Vandalized. Baltimore, they tore down a statue of Christopher Columbus and threw it in the harbor. How much money was spent on those things? But we're worried about a Black Lives Matter mural? Where's the consistency? Why aren't people calling out the hypocrisy? CNN won't call out the hypocrisy. They're the last ones that are going to do that. So I'll leave you guys with this. We need to realize that a lot of what's going on right now is hypocritical, and it's time to start calling out the left and the Democrats for the hypocrites that they are. They are all liberalism is rooted in hypocrisy. And that's basically what it comes down to. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you hit the subscribe button below on my YouTube channel, I really do appreciate that. I plan on doing videos almost every day now. And appreciate you guys tuning in. And I will talk to you guys soon. Hope you guys all have a fantastic night.